Hi, we're working here with Grassello Fino. We're going to do what's called Old World finish. We start with a smooth base coat, and then the second coat is skip trowel. So we take the trowel this way and just do these little islands of material. Kind of like random circular motions. And what we do is we start spreading them into each other. So you end up with some negative areas, but about 80 to 90% of the surface is covered. You just use the flat of the trowel to manipulate the material so that it's all connecting. You don't have like polka dots everywhere. And if you notice, I'm applying with the middle of the trowel. I'm not using the edge like we normally would. Only exception would be against my corners, against the ceiling and the floor. So you don't want it to be too thick, because then you might end up having to sand down your high spots. You just want it about as thin as a normal layer, but with a lot of texture put into it. So when it dries, it'll look something like this, and we're ready to do our third coat. Our third coat's going to be the same material, but now we're going to do total coverage. So we're just dragging that over everything, and you can already start to see the texture coming through from underneath. You don't want to go too thick, because if you go thick enough that the material hides all that texture, you're not going to get that nice effect coming through from underneath. So a nice thin coat. You kind of have to hit everything from multiple directions so that you don't get this chatter movement here. You see, if I come from the other way, that'll help that chatter to disappear. And then once you've got your area covered, you take your burnishing trowel and you just start compressing it. And the more you do this, the more that movement will come through. And it'll also give you a nice sheen. So here we've got our old world texture, and it's ready for it's dry and it's ready for our silver wax. We're just going to take the wax and apply a real thin layer going all different directions over the surface. Any heavy excess, you want to make sure to remove that. And then this will dry in about an hour, half an hour to an hour, and we'll buff it with a clean white cloth in circular motions. Okay, so this is now dry enough to buff. We're going to use a clean white cloth. You can also, for a higher shine, use a buffer. With a buffer, you've got to be a little bit more careful not to actually remove all the silver. So you're just going to buff it in circular motions, and this is just going to bring a little bit more luster to it and a little bit more sheen. It's also going to remove any excess that might have been in like some of the deeper grooves. and then you're done.